I'd like to take all your questions about the Ole Miss game and the Arkansas game, please. Let's do that. Fire away.
With the Vanderbilt game.
Nice. Nice. The animus between me and the media is brutal.
Obviously, they're a really good defensive team.
Yeah.
Did they like speed you up offensively? It looked like at the beginning maybe everybody was like moving maybe a little tick faster.
Well, listen, you can count the number of things that went wrong in that game, but a lot of credit goes to them. They started they lost Duke Miles, and they started a bigger lineup, and it had an effect on us in a number of ways. One was because we certainly got crushed in the physicality game that night. Two, because it allowed them to switch more comfortably and manage issues. And I think we sped ourselves up. We weren't functioning at a high level offensively in the sense of actually I thought we got really good, like we made really good decisions until the finish of a play. When you look at the film, like I actually like that. I like this. There was so much we liked, and sometimes that happens, man, where we just didn't finish, and then we started to compound our own problems. So I think 5 minutes left. The score's 7-4, and I'm sorry, 5 minutes into the first half, it's 15:05 or whatever. It's 7-4, and our ball in transition. And so all the stuff that happened in the first 5 minutes that hadn't felt great, we'd managed to kind of, and we weren't, we gave up a couple of transition baskets, but otherwise we were pretty solid defensively. But I think it just started to jump on our backs a little bit, and then we turned the ball over consecutively 4 out of 5 possessions, and each one was you could feel the temperature a little bit until the third turnover was inexplicably something we've never done since the first day we started in the summer, and so it was a little bit of a self-imposed deal. Credit to Vanderbilt for playing hard and keeping the pace, but I think we kind of got in our own way a little bit.
Jayden's status moving forward, is there any concern that he might not even come back this season? Where are you at with that?
Well, he's still dealing with a little bit of swelling in his knee, and so we're trying to make sure that we get to a great kickoff point, and I wish I could predict how that's going to work. So we don't know. We actually don't know.
Has he been practicing at all?
Right now he's on full shutdown in terms of his on-court work. We're doing everything we can with the performance team. One of the things that's just in the immediate moment challenge is that every day he misses, he loses some of the strength that they work so hard to develop, the knee protective strength, right? And so, it's a little bit of a complicated bag, but I know his health long term is going to be excellent. It's just in the immediate future we're trying to figure that out.
I guess that means, just for clarification, he won't be playing Saturday at Arkansas?
He will not play Saturday at Arkansas unless he gets better. How about that?
With the physicality, one, you mentioned, I think last night in the radio show, kind of in the backcourt. I think people know what to look for physicality at the 4 and 5 positions. Yep. What do you look for kind of at the 1 and 2s?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't just hand check everybody and push people off their spots.
Well, I'll give you an example. So, Vanderbilt had a real physicality in terms of catching moves with their chest, where we were in penetration and we got stood up really well. They did a nice job with that. There's so much physicality at the rim. The film right now of jersey grabs. 13 was really good. Grabbed Malachi's, had a whole fist of Malachi's jersey, almost pulled the jersey off on one possession. So there's that type of physicality. Yella, hands up in the air, got called for a defensive rebounding foul and a face guard where he got driven all the way through the baseline. He's like, man, I'm getting manhandled and I'm getting called for the foul, but it's really a first hit thing. And we've actually been great with our physicality in moments. We were poor in this Vanderbilt game, and sometimes that happens because It's interesting when your mind gets sped up and you get lost kind of in your emotions. Sometimes you're not making any decisions, and so I think it was a credit to Vanderbilt. It was a little bit on us, and certainly something that's important in the SEC. Man, this is a physical league, and you got to bring it every single night.
With Malachi there, how difficult is it for a freshman to do that consistently, to be physical consistently, especially when he was playing as a 7-footer against a bunch of 6'3" centers in Kentucky?
I think it's a challenge for every player all the time, and certainly being a young guy carrying as much load as he's carrying right now for our team. I think it's a lot too, just with everything going on. But also Malachi's got big shoulders. He's highly intelligent, incredibly competitive. He can do it, and so it was we talked about it this morning, and the SEC is a good league, and we won 5 out of 6, and certainly our last performance wasn't great, but what Malachi is doing and his impact on this game is really special, and it'll continue to be.
You're going to play one of the best teams in the SEC on Saturday.
Yeah.
It's really hard to not notice what Darius A. Cup's done.
Yeah.
Scoring at all 3 levels, scoring at such a high volume. Like, what does he pose as a defensive challenge to you guys, and how do you go about game planning against that kind of a volume shooter and scorer like that?
Yeah, well, it's we're talking about his shooting and scoring, but it's his 9-0 is what's really impressive, and the way he's getting it. So, and that's a place where he's grown through the course of the season. But you watch the film, and you have those point guards that are able to spray the ball everywhere. So he's making hook passes all the way through defenders to the weak side corner when you're trying to tag rotation. He's making the snap kind of over his shoulder. He's throwing lobs. Like, his physicality and his scoring certainly are elite, and they have been for a long time. But what's been really impressive is his ability to make plays for his teammates. It's that's been a pretty incredible progression to watching him. And there are very few players at the college level that can do it like he's doing it right now. And that makes things really hard. It's hard to load up on him. It's hard to really have huge tag help. Arkansas is so long at the rim because he's so capable of making pinpoint passes anywhere on the floor at any time, and he's making their offense work great.
And just coming off the defensive performance that you guys had at Vanderbilt, was there anything, I guess, salvageable from that that you can apply against State Cup and against Arkansas?
Yeah, listen, I mean, minus the last 4 minutes and minus transition, and the transition was breakdown in headspace more than it was breakdown in anything fundamental. It was just, which is so frustrating because it was out of character for us. We've been such an elite transition team, and this was just an effort transition issue. It was a distraction transition more than it was anything else. But otherwise, we had a decent defensive game. Their bigs were 4 for 8 from the 3-point line, which was something that we had kind of baked into the cake. And if you take away the transition, we probably, in the last 4 minutes, we probably had a defensive game to win. We just were a disaster offensively. So I think we feel confident about our ability to guard, and I think we continue to make progress there. We just can't have major niche breakdowns that hurts us.
Mark, speaking of headspace, obviously there was a lot of emotion going into this Arkansas game last year, and maybe not as much, but still some. So how do you manage this emotion and the consistency that you want from the team?
Listen, we're on the emotional roller coaster. It's just what this year is for us right now. So I think every game is so emotionally charged for us. This is certainly, and every game is so big, and this one is for all the reasons. It's all the right reasons, and that it is. So it just is, our job is, and what we didn't do well at Vandy is, there were a bunch of things that jumped on our back, and we couldn't kind of keep our focus in the moment. And so we ended up having these weird, anomalous things, like a guy who's never taken a ball out of bounds on the side, all of a sudden taken out of bounds, and all of us looking around be like, what is happening out here, right? You have moments like that. And so the challenge for us, is as well as for every single team, is, can you just be focused on right now? Can you drown out all the noise, drown out the play that just happened, the play that could be about to happen, and just be currently in this one? And when we do that, we're really good. And so that'll be our job.
Is that something at practice you all work on, like how to drown out the noise, or is that just
Yeah, we're trying crazy stuff in practice right now, trying to shore up some things. We're gonna have a different format to practice than we ever have before, just because we're trying to address our current needs right now.
Mark, I was going to ask, I mean, obviously, Denver had a standout game against Louisville, but it really seems like this month, especially from Mississippi State, has been consistently good to great. What have you liked the most that you've seen on him today?
From DA?
Yeah.
Well, DA's his ball screen numbers are ridiculous right now. He's like a 1.15 points per possession as a ball screen ball handler. That's crazy, and it's on high volume. His ability to score the ball has been great. I think he's had some really special moments defensively. You know, he's got a pretty unique skill about his choice through traffic, like the routes he takes. He can be really good. I think he's trying to emerge. His voice is trying to emerge a little bit, but he's had a terrific month for us.
Is he thinking the game better as he gets more comfortable in that point guard spot when you see him kind of come around those balls and kind of see he knows what he's doing and
Yeah.
maybe others don't?
Yeah, he is. He's definitely taken major jumps in just his comfort level with how he's playing.
Are you able to give us a peek behind the curtain of what the new practice changes are like?
Yeah, we're going to try and simulate some in-game stuff in a different way that we haven't done. So we're just, we're clearly our first halves we haven't performed the way we want to all season long, really in high major games. So we're just going to try some things and see if it was some other things. We've kind of been taking shots at it and see if we make some progress. But I think we'll get there.
It looked like Braden was a lot more active in pregame warm-ups in Nashville.
Yeah.
How's he feeling?
I think he's feeling pretty good. I'm curious to see what he is in practice today. Like, I think he'll full practice today, I think. So we'll see how that goes.
Is his practice role changing? I know he was with the scout team a lot
Yeah.
earlier on. Now with these injuries, is he moving in more?
Yeah, he'll be off the scout team today for most of practice because we're going to go good on good a lot. And it's him and Walker are shoring up the second unit. So it's going to be fun 5-on-5 today.
Like kind of an emotional roller.
The Walker is dangerous, by the way. Walker's going to get buckets. You guys have seen him in real in-game. I mean, you don't have that many guys who can just walk off the bench and bang a three off a stagger without even looking at the rim. Go ahead.
You referenced the kind of emotional roller coaster of the season so far, and obviously part of your job is not just this year's
Yep.
group, but still getting recruits and stuff for the
Yeah.
future. So I'm curious what the reception's been from recruits, just in terms of it being a bit of an up and down year,
Yeah.
and also just the outlook on that front, considering you guys still don't have a 2026 year.
Well, it's interesting because when you're every recruit is different. Every recruit is looking for something different, and so unsurprisingly to the tenured coach, sometimes when things are not smooth, it's actually a better it's a better story for some recruits. Some guys want different things. So at the end of the day, the recruiting kind of it is such a unique story. I think the way we like to do it is such a unique story for every single player that it's hard to give a generalized answer on that.
I don't think you've talked about it yet since it basically went into effect. But what do you think about the shortening of the transfer window and the delay of when it starts and all of that?
I think it's probably good and healthy for everybody. Usually just being decisive is probably the best answer. And I don't know what advantage it is to make it longer. I think guys have a good sense if they're jumping in the portal or not. I'm sure there's really cogent arguments for it to not just be a one-day thing. Like but I think it's probably healthy.
We're at that point of the year where words like resume and quad one wins or anything are getting thrown around.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, how are you all trying to build your resume and kind of stack these wins not only for
Yeah.
your team but also the market?
Just win. I mean, it's just winning. Like just winning is the nice thing for us is, it gets really complicated when you're in the trying to work the team sheets and everything else. Compare. For us, our job is very simple. It's just go win. Just go win games and play good basketball.
Mark, Malachi's had a couple of 6 assist games the last few weeks, and in the last 2 seasons with Amari, Valley, BYU, you've had some really good passing.
Yeah.
So how does Malachi compare to them? And maybe how much better can he get than that?
Well, as a freshman, what he's doing is pretty incredible. It's really impressive. We have to find ways to get the ball in his hands more. It's really important for us. We got to get the ball in his hands. We have to find some way to work him out of the post more. And and sometimes that can be complicated. We gotta find ways for him to get easier catches to kind of get us in our trail game and things like that, because the ball in his hands is pretty good. We get good results, and he's been that way. We recruited him because we thought he could be a terrific passing big, and he continues to grow that way, and he continues to grow in his understanding and attempts to kind of scheme and manipulate with our guys and how to do it. So he's got an unbelievable future as a passing big. Like, he's barely scratching the surface, but the surface is pretty good.
He is a possible three-point shooter from him down the road. Obviously, he's working on other stuff right now.
Yeah,
but
I think he's capable. You know, his brother Michael, who's his coach and you know, probably the most trusted confidant aside from his mom and his life, is, you know, was an elite level shooter in college, and said he came into college that it wasn't really his thing. And so he's convinced, and I'm convinced, and I think Malachi's convinced that he also is going to turn into an elite level three-point shooter. So that's going to be fun to watch.
Has Jayden undergone the shoulder surgery?
Yeah, had surgery yesterday, and it went perfectly smoothly. And so he's on the road to recovery, and I don't know if he'll be available Saturday, but hopefully next Tuesday.
Is there a timeline on the injury for that, or do you?
No, this is a long-term injury. This will be this is a 6-month rehab.
Cam, I think it's maybe a week now.
Unless there's a miracle, I do believe in miracles. We'll see. Cam will be a while. Cam's is a less long intensive. You know, he's you know, he had with his particular medical treatment, it's some place pretty soon he gets to just a pain tolerance. So I'd like to make all kind of jokes on that, but you know, we'll see on Cam. Like there's maybe an outside chance that Cam could rejoin us at some point this season. We'll see.
Mark, I know you feel like we've asked about it so much, but Braden and him potentially playing, is there like a game number or a date in mind? You're like, hey, if we don't play you now, we're just not going to. It's not worth it.
Well, it's you know, it's so many dynamics. Like, if we were healthy, we probably wouldn't be in conversations, but
Yeah, that would be
we're
absolutely
not,
wild.
right? Exactly. So you know, if we lose another player or two, you know, it might be just like, to put 5 on the floor, we need you, BH, and at that point we have to do it. But so it's just we're in the process. Most important, him getting healthy, and we'll go.
going back to ACUP, when you have a guy like Ortega, how much do you balance wanting to put him just on the ball, on Darius at all times, and how much do you may want to play him off and do that pick six thing he does and use those instincts he has to maybe look for somebody else?
With a guy like Acuff, you have to have plan A, B, and C. You just have to. Like, if you give him a steady look the whole game, it gets hard. And so it's interesting because sometimes, and the way you use your resources, you know, the way you use your these talented players is sometimes you could almost put your weakest defender on Acuff, saying that we're always going to be like two to the ball really, really hard. Even in the open floor, go to the ball. Sometimes you put your most dominant defender on him and say, hey, we're going to handle some stuff by ourselves, and then everything in between. And so it'll be a mixture of all of those things, just like every other team is trying to do to handle him.
Every place in the league's tough. Bud Walton, a lot of people say is up there with rough.
Listen, it's a great gym, great environment. I haven't been back there as a coach, but I have really just incredible memories of playing there as a player. The experiences before the game, after the game, during warm-ups of the game, I could chronicle all kind of stuff. So, you know, when I was playing, Arkansas was really good also. So, it'll be fun to be down there.
Mark, ACUP aside, what impressed you about the rest of Arkansas roster team?
Well, I think they're making a lot of sense with each other right now. Their team is making a lot of sense together. I think they're getting great effort from guys. They're really playing 8 guys, and they found a way to fit the pieces together pretty good. I think their 2 5s, the 2 transfer 5s, has found a way to kind of fit in and impact the game. I think Brazil is playing at a really high level, and you know, and their young freshmen have really come along. Like. And so they're playing exactly the way you'd expect them to. Good team.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.